And we are wrestling with WWE Vengeance Day. It took place last Saturday in Orlando, Florida, at the Performance Center. Like I said, a home game for NXT. Um, I dare say that this was better than what WWE is doing on the main roster. I mean, it was primarily grudge matches. Um, there was heat between the people, there was fire between the people, and it kind of seemed just like a genuine show. And I definitely did enjoy this show. Um, so yeah, I would say that, and I mean, they had 5 matches where WWE only does like 4 at this point. So, I mean, for them to, be doing better than WWE is, I mean, they're just, they're getting in, getting out, doing what they need to do. I mean, they did cut like a half hour out of their show. Like, this was only a 2.5 hour show. Or you could make the argument that they added a half hour to the normal show. To each their own. But let's get into it. We got a street fight. Blake Monroe defeated Jada Parker in 12 minutes 59 seconds. Thought this was a good opener. Blake Monroe has kind of seemed like she's been on the fence at this point. Like, we know Blake could go. We know Blake could have good matches, and she's kind of been struggling the last couple of months in WWE. So hopefully this is what kind of puts her on par to get back to where she needs to be. I do think that this was definitely better than the last match between Blake and Jada. Um, and I think that it did what it needed to do for both girls. So all in all, solid. I will give this a 3.5. Alright, we got Tony D'Angelo defeating Dion Lennox in 7 minutes and 4 seconds. I think that's when they actually got in the ring, and not counting their whole parking lot, street brawl, whatever you want to call it. Um, I will admit it, I am a Tony D'Angelo hater. I do not like him. I have I have nothing invested in him. I think he's a terrible character, and I could not give less of a shit of what he does. Um, that being said, ever since he kind of came back, he is trying to do something different, not necessarily doing, you know, the mob gangster bullshit gimmick. And I think that this was actually a pretty solid match. For what it was, which was, just, a big clusterfuckery, but I think it worked, and I think it got Tony over for me in a way that he's maybe a little bit more believable and a little bit more legitimate than he was before he left, when he was just, the gangster Goomba guy. I give this I give this a 3 stars. I think the right person won in the right way, and he's doing, they're doing what they need to do with him. We have an NXT Women's North American Championship match. Tatum Paxley defeated Izzy Dame in 15 minutes 25 seconds. Good solid match. Could have made the argument it needed to some type of stipulation, but considering the last 2 matches were, street fights, I get where they needed, just your solid, singles match on the card, um, disqualification applied. Um, right person won. Paxley and Dame will end um their rivalry next Tuesday on NXT TV in a cage match in Texas. So yeah, I think it was a natural progression of what they needed to be, and yeah, solid match. I'd say 3.5. NXT Underground match. Lola Rice defeated Kalani Jordan. Lani Kai. What the fucking decade am I in? Um, yeah. Brutal match. Kalani actually hung with Lola for as long as she did. And, obviously that was 6 minutes. I don't think that it needed necessarily to go longer. I mean, it's supposed to be, a knockout, drag 'em out, not necessarily pretty. Um, and yeah, Lola looks like a star at this point. I mean, give this woman a belt. Yeah, it's Lola Vice. I don't have a lot of complaints. 5 stars. Now we have the NXT Championship match. Joe Henry defeated Ricky Saints in 16 minutes, 16 seconds. Good match. Didn't necessarily have the heat that the other matches had. Um, but I could understand where they're kind of going with it. It wasn't necessarily, the big blow off match. It was more of a progression and telling the story of Ricky Saints, Ethan Page, and Joe Henry in the mix. So I would say that the ending was done well, you know, and if you saw Tuesday, Ethan Page pinned Joe Henry. So, he's obviously getting that title match. So, on its own, maybe less than it could have been. But, with the added context of the story on Tuesday, it definitely makes the grade higher, I would say. So, I will give this a 3. And that was a solid match, but they didn't necessarily do anything that made me say go wow, or honestly I was kind of considering everything else I saw in the night, it was just kind of a vanilla match. The ending had me going, but everything before that kind of wasn't that memorable. So 3 stars. And then the show as a whole, I will give it a thumbs up. It was a good show. Um, and yeah, NXT, showing up, showing off, and we'll see what happens at Stand and Deliver.
Hey, folks, this is the Colossal Mike Law, and you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment. Enjoy the show, support these guys. We appreciate it very much. We'll see you at ringside.